Welcome to today's Explainer. You know, the FIFA World Cup is absolutely the pinnacle of global sports. It's this massive event built on decades of tradition, incredible athletic achievements, and legendary stories of triumph. But hidden deep within its archives are these historical anomalies that just completely defy logic. So today, we're uncovering FIFA's dark secrets. We're going to focus on three incredibly bizarre, almost unbelievable facts that actually happened right on the world's biggest stage. Honestly, even if you're a hardcore fan who follows the sport religiously, these are those forgotten corners of World Cup history that just rarely get talked about. By the time we wrap up today, I promise you're going to have a completely different perspective on the chaotic history of this tournament.
So we're going to count these down, digging deeper and deeper into the strangest archives of the sport. We're starting off with a tactical anomaly that literally broke the scoreboard. Then we'll move into a highly classified logistical secret about the ultimate prize. And finally, we're finishing up with a record that shattered the rules of the game in a matter of seconds. Every single one of these facts highlights just how unpredictable the World Cup can be. But I have to warn you, that final secret, number one, is a story of chaos so abrupt, it's honestly hard to comprehend how it ever actually happened. Okay, let's descend into the archives and check out our first anomaly.
All right, let's dive right into fact number 3, the unbelievable scoreline. To truly grasp the magnitude of this, we have to travel back to the 1982 World Cup in Spain. Now, in the modern era of football, defensive structures are so rigid, right? Tactical analysis is so profound that a typical match usually ends in a really tight 1-0 or maybe a 2-1 victory. Even a massive blowout might just be a 4-goal difference. But this clash between Hungary and El Salvador, it was an entirely different beast. It resulted in a world record 11 total goals in a single match. To understand how a 10-1 demolition even happens, you really have to look at the vastly different realities of these two squads. At the time, El Salvador was a nation deeply embroiled in a civil war. Their journey to Spain was incredibly chaotic. They struggled with funding, their preparation was severely lacking, and they arrived at the tournament completely exhausted, literally having trained with borrowed equipment. Hungary, on the other hand, was this well-oiled, methodical machine. And man, when that whistle blew, the disparity showed almost instantly. Hungary opened the scoring just 4 minutes in, and by halftime they were comfortably sitting on a 3-0 lead. But the second half? That is where history was truly rewritten. The floodgates completely opened as the Salvadoran defense just collapsed under sheer exhaustion and relentless pressure. And here is the most astonishing part of this whole thing. It came from a Hungarian substitute named Laszlo Kiss. He came off the bench in the second half and proceeded to score a hat-trick in exactly 7 minutes. 7 minutes. To this day, he remains the only substitute in World Cup history to ever score a hat-trick. The final whistle mercifully blew at 10-1. It is still the highest-scoring single match in the entire history of the tournament, and it serves as a pretty stark reminder of the massive inequalities that used to exist between competing nations before the intense modernization of the sport.
Moving right along to fact number 2, the fake trophy.
Okay, be honest. When a nation wins the World Cup, the defining image broadcasted to billions around the globe is the captain lifting that iconic, glimmering gold trophy amidst a total storm of confetti, right? It's a masterpiece of 18-karat gold and malachite, conservatively valued at well over $20 million. It is the authentic, original trophy. But the dark secret behind this amazing celebration is that the pure gold original is strictly for the cameras. Yep, you heard that right. The champions do not actually get to keep it. To understand why FIFA is so notoriously protective of this asset, we have to look at their pretty traumatizing history with theft. The original World Cup trophy, known back then as the Jules Rimet Trophy, was famously stolen in England in 1966. Luckily, it was sniffed out by a dog named Pickles in a London hedge. Fast forward to 1970, it was permanently awarded to Brazil, only to be stolen again in 1983. And tragically, this time, it was melted down by thieves. So FIFA learned a very harsh lesson. A priceless chunk of solid gold makes a pretty irresistible target. Because of this intense paranoia, FIFA implemented a strictly enforced post-match protocol. The genuine 18-karat gold trophy is handed over for the on-pitch celebration, the lapse of honor and those initial iconic press photographs. But the second the team heads back into the secure bowels of the stadium to celebrate in the locker room, FIFA officials step in. They quietly confiscate the multi-million-dollar original and lock it away in a highly secure, bulletproof vault, eventually transporting it straight back to their headquarters in Zurich. In its place, the winning players are handed the FIFA World Cup Winners' Trophy, which is essentially just a really high-quality bronze replica coated in a layer of gold plating. So when you see those incredible museum displays in the national stadiums of winning countries, proudly housing the ultimate prize in global football, you're actually just looking at a very well-made duplicate.
And that brings us to our final secret. Number 1, the fastest red card.
This is an anomaly so abrupt, it completely redefined the concept of a disastrous start. We are stepping into the 1986 World Cup in Mexico. It's the final match of Group E, featuring Uruguay and Scotland. And the stakes, they literally could not have been higher. Scotland desperately needed a victory to advance to the knockout stages, while Uruguay only needed a draw. The tension in that stadium was incredibly thick. Just think about it. Players trained for 4 long years, dedicating their entire lives for the fleeting opportunity to step onto this pitch and represent their country. So, the referee blows his whistle and the ball is in play. Just moments into the match, Scotland's Gordon Strachan receives the ball. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Uruguayan defender Jose Batista comes flying in with this ferocious scythe-like tackle from behind, completely taking Strachan out in a brutal collision. The French referee, Joël Quigneau, didn't hesitate for a single second. He marched straight over to Batista, reached right into his pocket, and pulled out a straight red card. The time on the clock? Exactly 56 seconds. The reaction on the pitch was just a mixture of absolute shock and total outrage. The Uruguayan players swarmed the referee, desperately protesting the decision, arguing that it was way too early in the match to issue an expulsion. But Quigneau stood completely firm. I mean, the rules of the game do not care what minute it is. A dangerous foul is a dangerous foul. So Batista was forced to take the longest, most humiliating walk back to the locker room in World Cup history. His entire tournament participation ended before he even broke a sweat. Uruguay was then forced to play the remaining 89 minutes with only 10 men on the field. Astonishingly, they actually managed to hold on for a 0-0 draw, securing their advancement. But Batista's name was permanently etched into the history books for all the wrong reasons. Decades later, that 56-second expulsion remains the absolutely undisputed fastest red card ever issued in World Cup history.
From a war-torn nation suffering a 10-goal deficit to a multi-million-dollar trophy that practically vanishes behind closed doors, to a player whose ultimate World Cup dream evaporated in less than a minute, these events really remind us that the reality of global sports is very often stranger than fiction. It goes so far beyond the perfectly manicured highlight reels we're used to seeing today. When you look back at the chaos, the logistical paranoia, and the sheer unpredictability that has shaped this tournament, it really makes you wonder. With over 90 years of history in the books, what other unbelievable anomalies and dark secrets are still buried deep in FIFA's archives, just waiting to be uncovered? Thank you so much for joining me for today's Explainer. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden context behind these crazy historical facts, make sure you hit that follow and subscribe button so you never miss out on our deep dive analysis. Also, looking at the 2 legends on screen right now, drop a comment down below and let us know who your ultimate favorite player is. Keep exploring the stories behind the scorelines, and I'll see you in the next Explainer.